Well, Joe Towers back with another movie review with Sting Moment of Truth. Now, I'm gonna tell you this right now. None of my other PlayStation 3, 4, and 5 could not register this movie, but my PlayStation 2 does. So that's kind of a shock. But that's a little side note there. Yeah, this was released in I want to say October 12th of 2004. Yeah, 2004. So, also, there's no Wikipedia on this, so I have to do this like my video game reviews. So, there's that. Yeah. I mean, look at the box art. Sting looks like a PlayStation 2 character model render, anyways. I know. You're like, look. What the hell? So, what am I trying to say about the plot about this? Most of this is basically like they try to base off his stuff from like in WCW. There's one problem about that, and that's the big gigantic elephant in the room. WWE owns the rights to WCW because they can't use the fucking logo. So what's their best option? They had to use TNA wrestlers to do this whole thing. Yeah, but what do I know? So it starts with Sting fighting Jeff Jarrett. No, I'm not kidding. That's how the wrestling portions begin. I mean, yeah, they start with Sting. It's like early life watching wrestling as a kid, but then the first like wrestling match is Sting versus Jeff Jarrett in an actual TNA ring. If they're gonna try to portray WCW, but they can't because WWE owns the rights to it. But yeah, afterwards, Sting was made by this weird producer or this weird like interview guy. He said that uh, the door is open and he gets so nervous his fucking pencil doesn't say that doesn't work for me, brother. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's Sting for God's sake, not Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat. Just calm down. And then they start, you know, Sting's early days as a wrestler, where he came with Jim Hellway part the Freedom Fighters, but this is not the Ultimate Warrior as himself. No, it's Triton from TNA also. Who, by the way, the more inaccuracy came in this. Sting was always taller than Warrior in real life, not the other way around. If you don't know the reference, watch Brian Zane's review on this. Like, he did that, 10 years ago now? Um, Eventually, Sting and Warrior split up. He starts becoming Silver Sting, starting his world title victory against Ric Flair, which, these are actual clips of the match, by the way. Which, how the hell do you take copyrighted video footage and just put it on the movie? I'm surprised they didn't get sued from that. Moving on, the interview guy wraps up, and then Sting has the match against Abyss. Okay. But the weird thing is they don't use any of the TNA branding around this, so why was it visible in the first one? And this is, I understand why TNA gets a, I understand why TNA gets a mention during this movie, and I know why Sting was starting spending years in the company also, but this is supposed to be a WCW whole thing, and let me explain this. Some of the WCW wrestlers, like Booker T, for instance, cannot be in this because he's in WWE. But the others, like Hogan, semi-retirement. Ric Flair is still part of the also with Evolution. Goldberg was gone after WrestleMania 20. He was retired at this point until 2016. DDP would not come back to the ring until a month until he come to TNA. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm wearing this shirt for what reason? Don't ask me why. Nash would not come to TNA until Victory Road. I mean, they had to do the best of what they could. I mean, moving on, Sting won that. And then Sting starting to, so personal issues. Right, they started playing that part of, and then more actual WCW clips. Like, take away all that stuff. I understand why, because they can't find anyone who plays Kevin Nash, and also around this point, Nash was short-haired around this point, also in 2004. So yeah, more about his strange things about his wife, because earlier in this movie, the guy who plays Server Sting got married at this point, but there's that. Then Sting has that handicap match against Lance Hoyt and Chris Harris. I mean, Harris was a $2 security in WCW during 2000, but I think Sting was all messed up. He thought those guys were Kevin Nash and Scott Hall because reasons. Yeah, Sting won, no shock there. And then this interview lady, talk about, the mysterious crow figure Sting and stuff like that. More fucking WCW clips. I mean, he is on Nitro, he's on pay-per-view, he's on on the new Nitro set, now he's on pay-per-view again. Like these WCW clips are so out of order and so it's no, not that really. I mean, it's just there's no flow on these. Also, we get some boring ass phone calls. Also, you know what make those phone calls funnier? If they use a throughout the phone, like some of those SpongeBob ones, they do. But I guess not. Then we starting more things showing us merchandise, like his action figures. I laughed when he threw that Bret Hart figure away. That's and there's that, his action figures, flags, communal plates, and other stuff like that. Cars, even fucking monkeys. Like, what the hell? And singing in a suit also, a prototype version of his time in the Main Event Mafia. But this came out in 2004. The Mafia and the storyline didn't come in until 2008. Then Sting gets another interview with this weird college kid about some of his favorite angles, like the NWO and the Four Horsemen and that. And then they talk about the match with Hogan at Starrcade 97, yada yada yada, but no fast count in this one. And Sting says Hogan's knees were bad, his personal life was a mess, and I'm like, yeah, Hogan's knees and their personal issues did not live up to the hype. Now the fact that referee Nick Patrick fucked up the finish, it was supposed to be a 1, 2, 3. And then they show more clips from Super Bowl 8 with Hogan and Sting, and then their night in our town. Sting finds himself locked out of the building and down a spooky path, and all this was just a weird dream sequence, and then he gives the soul to God, and that's how it ended. Throughout that dream sequence, there were wrestlers around the turnbuckle inside a cage. What, the Four-Post Massacre again from Ready to Rumble? But yeah. Now, I'll give this movie credit. At least they have the actual Sting in this. And his acting was good, also. But the rest of this movie, I didn't hate this movie, really. I watched this like 3 times now, and it's not that bad. I mean, but they can use the WCW footage. Well, they did, but in clip forms. But they're so out of sync. But yeah. So, and I understand why Tina gets a mention throughout this movie, and I understand why, Sting would be a part of it by 2006. I mean, '04. This was before that. He was doing like a sort of part-time deal with them. I say sort of part-time deal, but I don't think he was under contract for real until late '05, early '06. But yeah. I'll give it a generous C plus because the real Sting was in it, and it's not like the next one I'm talking about. Next movie review, the Jesse Ventura story. I don't have the DVD of it. I was just watching on YouTube and talk about it. I don't think it even at the Wikipedia at all. Also, yay, more inaccuracy of wrestlers. But yeah. Tomorrow will be episode 96 of Showdown, and then Thursday on my second channel, subscribe to the notification on that one. You will see Unforgiven 2002 on there, and yeah. Bye-bye.